Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My lighting is all off. I am Josh, that is Jay. This is the Redpill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is where we talk about everything geopolitical, geoeconomic, what's happening in the world, things that go bump in the night. What's up with you all? How are you all doing tonight? Had an interesting weekend. It was quite enjoyable. It was actually a pretty enjoyable weekend. Jay, how was your weekend?
My weekend was all right. Been busy.
Yeah.
Busier than I want to be. Yeah.
I feel you there, man. It's, I don't know. It's like, I was talking with Jeff about this. It's like, woke up today, and it's just, there's something in the air. There's something in the air. I guess I'm in my eye, but I was actually singing it. It's like, I can see it coming through the air. You know, it's just like, it's like that fog, not that fog, that Jello's back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I heard that I found incredibly interesting was, do you remember when the rumors about Trump in the water glass? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And the media went ballistic. The media said, if there's something wrong, if there's something wrong with him, we need to know. The American people need to know. And everybody was in uproar about it.
Yep.
Right? And then Joe Biden fumbles upstairs, trips, blah, 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 and we're just leaving it alone.
I got this on my Twitter right now.
Why do we not know it? Why aren't we, we should know it. The American people should know it. And this is bullshit.
And here's the thing is, we're the conservatives. We're the Republicans. There's none of them in uproar about any of this. And so this was kind of a comic relief. Jessica Walter, J Walter 306 right here, posted this a little while ago. And it says, false. Fact checkers have said false. Joe Biden did not fall off the steps of Air Force One. What actually happened is the Earth shook up and down very quickly due to man-made global warming caused by Trump administration's policies.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
right
but that's liberal logic.
Fact check.
That's liberal logic that we're dealing with.
But some of these people are starting to come around. And
so you listened to Glenn Beck today?
I did.
I listened to Glenn Beck today. He was talking about Bill Maher.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up. That Bill Maher shit.
And I'm not a Bill Maher fan.
No, I
think he's a liberal shitbag. But
even Bill Maher brought it up.
Bill Maher is saying liberals are turning on Biden and liberals.
Yep.
They're saying this is getting out of hand. And I think they were talking about Connecticut, the bill in Connecticut. There's a bill in Connecticut that is going for a vote. And it's not clear if the bill is going to pass. But basically what the bill does is preserves the rights of individuals, of identification of individuals, kind of like the discussions that we talk about. that no gender is inferior to another gender, no race is inferior to another. It's absurd to think that you have to have a bill, a law for this. But a lot of the liberal people against the bill are saying the bill's racist and saying that it infringes on free speech. And like, liberals are coming out against it and saying this is absurd. This is nuts. What is wrong with these people? And see, what it was is you had this small little growth in the middle of liberalism called Nazism, fascism, socialism. I know fascism is right, but what it is totalitarianism. It's this desire, this drive for power and corruption and manipulation. And that seed festered and spread its tentacles out, basically feeding into the wants and the desires of the most radical left. And eventually what happened is it infected so many. It infected the political systems. It infected the local political and judicial and law enforcement systems. It infected the education systems. That's where it started. It started with the education systems. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Sergei Beninoff. He talked about this. He goes, they're going to start with the education system. They're going to turn them communist. They're going to turn your kids communist. Within 2 generations, your country's going to be communist. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. And now the parents, those liberal parents, those Democrats are going, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Right? And it's all starting here at the border. Even the immigrants coming, or the legal immigrants coming over the border are going, what the hell, Joe Biden? It's that bad that the immigrants he invited over are coming over and saying, what the hell? So, here's the thing. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They are setting up the narrative. Jay knows it. I know it. Mm-hmm. You all know it. They are setting up the narrative. See, they knew that liberals and Democrats would turn on their own people. So they put in place a fall guy. Now, I'm going to show you this article that Jay sent me. This is from the Western Journal. Former Obama White House doctor. Biden hiding from public is a major red flag. Something isn't right. So this is Ronnie Jackson, who was a White House physician for 2 former presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, or for 3 former presidents. George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump has joined a growing legion of Americans and medical experts who are gravely concerned about the physical and mental health of President Joe Biden. Jackson, a retired Navy Rear Admiral who now represents Texas as a Republican congressman, sounded the alarm on Sunday when he said Biden's lack of public appearances is a major red flag, signaling that something is seriously wrong with the 78-year-old career politician. Biden has yet to hold a formal news conference as president. I've served as White House physician under 3 presidents, Jackson tweeted. I've seen what it takes to physically and mentally do the job. I can tell you right now that the way Biden is hiding from the public is a major red flag. Something is not right. So, we've been telling you, you knew it, we all knew it, they're setting the narrative. So right now you have liberals coming out and switching sides, basically saying what the hell is going on, this isn't what we asked for, this is wrong, right? You have the radicals supporting the liberal base, but they're going to present a fall guy for the liberals. And they're going to bring in radical commie Kamala, okay, as the savior to the Democrat Party.
This is going to be worse, dude.
Oh, it's so listen, they're setting this up. This is a great setup that they have right now. So, kind of give you guys the narrative as I see it. Head of the Fed, Powell, comes out today and says that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies cannot compete with the dollar. They're not a great store of value. They're more equivalent to gold. Well, that's actually a better store of value than the dollar. But what he's doing is he's pumping up reassurance in the dollar. The markets are doing well. But it makes no sense because the job numbers are down. The housing numbers are starting to turn. You just talked about that. Oh, Jay, you just talked about this. The housing numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Hold on. I got it right here. Where the hell did it go? Okay, I don't have it right here. It's on my board. I got a few news stories I want to go through, but so this is incredibly interesting to understand. So Jay just talked about how they were talking about home sales, that Biden is giving a home credit for new homeowners
Right.
at the top of this bubble, at the top of this market. We all know that right now, experienced real estate people who hold real estate, are selling off any assets that are not cash flow positive.
Yep.
Right? If you're cash flow positive, it doesn't matter if the market goes up and down. Cash flow is cash flow. You keep cash flow because cash flow gives you leverage on equity, right? But if you have negative assets or something like that, people are offloading them. From the Wall Street Journal today, Jay. Wall Street Journal. It's the hottest market I've seen. Pandemic home sales are at levels not seen before the last housing crash, but this time nearly everything is different. Oh yeah, different my ass. It's exactly the same. This is exactly what they did in 2007. See, they want to get rid of all this bad debt that they have. They want to get rid of all this junk shit that they have, and they're throwing it to all of you guys and everybody out there in the world and saying, it's a great market. It's time to buy up this shit. Okay? So you have that going on. You have liberals sitting there going, what the hell is going on with Biden? He's not doing anything he said. He's not keeping any of his promises. I saw a TikTok today, Jay, where the guy was talking about Kamala. I promise you, Joe Biden will not ban fracking. I promise you, Joe Biden. Donald Trump's lies. I'm not going to ban fracking. First day in office. XL pipeline, gone. Bans fracking. And liberals are going, what the hell? Those were our jobs too. And now we have gas prices, $70 to fill my tank today. $70.
Yeah, hold on. Did you see that guy? He was a CEO of a corporation. Because of all these changes, he had to make some decisions, and he had to let people go.
Oh, so he fired all the Biden guys?
So he went out into the parking lot, and he found everybody with Biden stickers, and he let them all go.
Yeah.
You got what you wanted.
Exactly it.
It's an incredible lesson in life, and how do you determine? Well, you know what? I'm going to determine by how you voted. Mm-hmm. You just screwed everyone.
So I want to just touch on this. Lauren Lay said, my renter's insurance won't cover crypto because it's unrecognized money. Great, Lauren, this is what I would like you to do, is represent it as a digital art or as an art, because they do cover art. So if you have NFTs of which you hold value of crypto in, they will cover those. Just an FYI. Okay, so what we have right now is we have Joe Biden's health declining, him stepping upwards, right? And isn't that very symbolic? He's tripping while moving forward and upward. That's not a good thing. Okay, so Kamala's been awfully quiet. They broke promises. We know what they're trying to do. They're going to replace Biden with Kamala. This is the beginning of their color revolution that hasn't really even started yet. This is what our good friend Quelle has set us all up for. This is what they've shown us that was going to happen. We've been waiting for it to happen. All right? Now we have them pumping up the market. We have Powell comes out today and says, cryptocurrencies, and crypto drops massively. Guess what? Buy the dip. Why? Because they're tricking you. They're saying, buy real estate and forget about crypto. Why would they do that? BlackRock, $50 billion plus investment in crypto. Elon Musk, Tesla, MicroStrategies, Bill Gates, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, all investing in cryptocurrency. Oh, no, you should know. It's horrible. Bad investment. No, stay away from it. Buy real estate. Buy these junk real estates that we're throwing out there. This is what they did in 2007, and you have to recognize this, okay? And then, Jay, we have two gun bills on the billet, right? We have the House bill, and then we have the Senate bill. The Senate bill does what? And think about the fucking timing of this. You want to talk about a coincidence? There is no such thing as a coincidence. So you have the HR bill, which basically calls for a gun registry and makes your guns public registry information. How many guns you have, what kind of guns you have, what type of ammunition you have. It makes you have the background checks for ammunition, makes background checks harder, mental health checks, all these types of things. And mental health checks, Jay, they can come in and do a mental health check because you declined a vaccine. Understand that, because that's what they just passed in New York State. Okay? So that's the House bill that's going to the Senate. Then Feinstein, a few weeks ago, introduces a bill in the Senate to do what? Basically ban military-looking rifles. Looking rifles. You're seeing it all over the place. You're seeing all these commercials of military people. Oh, the AR-15 is the same gun I used when I was in the military. No, it's not, dumb shit. It wasn't your M4 carbine. It's not your M16. It's not. Stop being a fucking idiot and saying that. Because it's not. It's a hunting rifle. It's a 22 caliber rifle with a little bit more powder behind the cartridge, okay? It's a hunting rifle for varmint. That's it. Okay? It's not a freaking military style rifle. I promise you, I assure you. I've shot one. I carried one. Okay?
What, an AR?
I have an AR and I've carried an M16.
Right.
Carried an M4. Not the same. But here's the thing, is they're making it look like that. And then also in the Senator Feinstein's ban is what? Magazine limits. How many round limits you can have per magazine. And you have to register all this stuff. And then what happens today? And by the way, this is horrific that this happened today. And look where it happens. It happens in Colorado. And trending with AR-15. I'm going to show everybody this. Oops, trending with AR-15 is Aurora. Look at that. Aurora shooter. Remember? Multiple people killed in shooting incident, Colorado, Boulder says. Mm-hmm. All right. Multiple people killed in Boulder, Colorado. Okay? So, I'm just showing a lot of the things from this. So, there was... Who's this that I had open? Multiple people killed in the shooting incident in Colorado, Boulder police say, including a police officer was killed. God bless everybody that was killed or injured in this. This is horrific. This is a horrific accident or incident, okay? And this person deserves the everything that's coming to him because he is in custody. Now here's the thing. Do you think that this is a coincidence? That this happened in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, a massively liberal part of Colorado, okay? Colorado's had two major other shooting incidents, Aurora and Columbine, okay? And now this one. Right before the Senate and the House are going to vote on a bill pertaining to what? AR-15s, pertaining to magazine capacity, pertaining to gun registration and mental illness.
Yeah.
Do you understand how they set narratives?
But hold on.
Yeah.
Then we also had the shooting, and now we have to have the stop the hate against Asians. And I was like, I missed the memo when we started to hate Asians because I don't hate Asians. I don't think anybody's ever been like, man, those Asians, we gotta kick their butts. Like all of a sudden we have a shooting at massage parlors where these Asian women worked, and we have a man who is mad at massage parlors because they entice him to in his sexual prowess, right? So he goes into massage parlors and shoots them up, but then we automatically go to this hate the Asians, and we say, oh, look what guns did again. It's the same narrative. With what? Within 2 weeks of each other? How come none of this ever happened during Trump? Mm-hmm. Ask yourself that question. How come it never happened during Trump?
Exactly. So, we're seeing the narrative being set. Mm-hmm. This is it.
I also find it really, really, really ironic that we start this stop the Asian hate. Mm-hmm. What you should have changed it to was stop the China hate, right? Because now if you start to hate on China, you're hating on Asians, and we already know that has led to shootings, and so therefore you should not hate Asians. But they do not hate Asians.
This is the interesting thing about hating the Asians, okay, is two of the incidents that came out this weekend, right, were the shooting at the massage parlor. The guy had a bad day, white guy. And then the man who tried to punch the woman in San Francisco and she beat him with a 2x4. Do you see this?
No, I missed this one.
She was an old, 80-year-old Asian lady. The dude came up and tried to punch her, and she picked up a piece of wood and just beat the piss out of him. Good. He deserved it, right? But they're both white. What they didn't show you was the black guy in New York City that Glenn Beck was talking about. There's a conspiracy theory going around. Did you hear about this shit? Did you get that far into the episode? Mm-mm. So there was this black guy, I guess he was dressed up like disco 70s, right? and he was talking all like jive talk, right? And he went and attacked this one Asian lady. And now it's not being considered a hate crime or anything like this, but people are saying, or popular sources are saying, it's a conspiracy theory, and that the New York Police Department paid this guy to actually go out and be an agitator. And this is absurd. Like, so here's the thing: is my wife and children are Asian. Okay, I mean, I am as far from racist as anything could ever happen, right? And you know, it strikes me as a concern that this narrative is being pushed because, guess what? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Why the Asian hate right now? Number one, China. Okay, I can see that. But let me ask you this, Jay. Who is the top minority that supported Donald Trump? Asian. Who's the top grossing minority in the United States?
Asian.
Who's the most scarce minority in the United States, accompanying less than 5%? Asian. Who holds all the top engineering and STEM jobs in the United States as per minority?
Asians.
Now, does that seem like a problem to you? If you're trying to basically implement, and guess what? The majority of these people came from what type of countries?
Communist.
Now you see why they're attacking Asian people. And by the way, they're all gun owners, mostly. Because they understand. Do you remember when the Rodney King riots were happening? You remember the store owner who stood at their store? Who was it? Asians with rifles, AR-15s, protecting their businesses, their livelihood. That's why they're attacking. They're not attacking Hispanics, not attacking blacks, attacking Asians. But they're letting the Hispanics and the blacks attack themselves, allowing them to cancel their own culture. What do I mean by that? We've seen this narrative all too much before. Oh, yeah, you can't have Aunt Jemima out. Oh, you can't have Uncle Ben out there. Oh, no, that's racist. These were successful African Americans who rose up from the depths of poverty and made successes of their lives, and they want to disenfranchise that from their history. They want to take that off the shelf. White people who sympathize with you want to take that off the shelf. They're called Democrats. They're called liberals. That's sad. And people, the Hispanics and the blacks, they go right along with it for the most part. But I'll tell you, there are some woke-ass people out there, Jay. I'm on TikTok a lot, and I'm seeing a lot of Hispanic, a lot of Asian, a lot of black Trump supporters, conservatives, Republicans. It's bigger than you could ever imagine.
Yeah. Anybody that buys that 80-something million people voted for Joe Biden seriously has some mental issues.
That's right. So this was interesting. So this is from Rasim Kassam. And he says, China is suing academics who criticized their forced sterilization in labor camps. You can't make this stuff up. And they want to come after the United States in the UN's for human rights violations. Unfreaking believable. If anybody was on HBO this last weekend, maybe you saw the Q the Storm or whatever it was, this documentary by this guy who obviously had all the right information. I mean, I didn't even watch it. I watched clips of it. And from what I saw, okay, and Jay, so to give you a little, they made a documentary on this QAnon thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's on HBO. Yeah. It's called Q the Storm or something.
Really? It's on HBO?
Yeah.
And I just got rid of it.
So here's the thing. It's like former people from the movement who are like, Q talked about them eating babies and that they're just satanic And I'm sitting there going, no. Like, and then the people that supposedly the Faber dude who came forth, and they had what's his name on there from 8kun, Monkey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on there, but it's just all, dude. How about this? If you could pick all the wrong people to represent a movement, that was what it was. If you could pick all the fucking wacky nut jobs that go out there and represent a movie, that's what it was. And the guy's like, I kind of went out there to find out what this was all about. And obviously he didn't figure it out because he just talked to a bunch of whack jobs, in my opinion. So, pretty freaking sad, man. But you know what? They can deny it all they want. They can perceive it how they want to perceive it. This shit is real. If they want to deny it, they can. But you know what? I've seen enough. I know enough. I understand enough to understand that that shit is real. To a degree. To a degree. Right? There's a lot of speculation mixed in there. Like I said, we got 90% bullshit, 10% truth.
Yeah.
In most parts. All right. Sidney Powell. Did you see this?
No.
So, former Trump campaign attorney. Actually, I don't think she was Trump's campaign attorney. They never said she was. Sidney Powell asked the judge to dismiss the $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit filed against her by Dominion Voting Systems, an election software company she falsely accused of election rigging and fraud. Through her attorneys, Powell argued the case should be dismissed because her comments were protected under the First Amendment and reasonable people would not accept such statements as fact. There has been no evidence provided following the U.S. election to suggest Dominion voting systems were manipulated or corrupted, according to the election officials. The reason is because no evidence has been allowed to be presented.
Right.
Tons of evidence has been provided. None has been presented in a court of law. And so it looks like the system is completely rigged, and Sidney knows it, and that they're watching out for themselves. They have to watch out for themselves, and it's going to be interesting, man. So we have Mike Lindell's social network launching here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and Trump.
And then Trump is coming out with one in the next few months.
Yeah, now this is brilliant by these guys, because anybody that doesn't like Trump probably isn't going to go to his app, right? But I can see people going over to Lindell's because he's a likable guy. And so anybody that won't flock to him, to Trump, will flock to Lindell. And you essentially, and if they make two different types of platforms, one maybe where one is more like that Facebook oriented and one is more like that Twitter orientation, it's game over for them.
I think it's going to be more of, I think that Lindell's coming out with a Twitter and YouTube clone. So it'll be Twitter and YouTube in one platform. And then nobody knows what Trump's platform is going to be like, but I'm assuming it's going to be another streaming platform and probably like an Instagram. Which are the two most popular right now. Or it could even be, Jay, a TikTok.
Could be, yeah.
And so I'm going to be on both. I'm going to be streaming on both. I just sent, actually, Methods a message here a little while ago. It looks like we're going to be on the Foxhole app here coming up very shortly. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll have everything set up. So expect us to grow a little bit. But I'm telling you that everything is coming to an apex. That they are moving fast. They are, like I said, we talked about this Friday. Something happened. I think that we were spot on, Jay, by saying that Space Force was really the border wall.
Yep. I've got an interesting thought, and this is kind of a fringe thought. But, so, remember what I told you before about the show? That collectively as one, if we all think the same thing, if we all look for the same result, we therefore will change the results of the future of this world. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yeah.
So when we talk about, what's it called when, like Kit Kat,
Mandela effects.
The Mandela effect. What if the Mandela effect is really caused by the majority of the thinking? Meaning, if one group of people actually think, therefore history changes, right? And somebody like me and you who look at the Hindenburg as blowing up in Germany, haven't really collectively changed our thoughts, right? And neither has, let's just say, 23% of the population. Does this make sense to where I'm going with this? And I was thinking about this in the car today, and I was like, man, this is like fringe shit, right? But what if, and what if right now, they always say, it was always said is that we've always held the power to control our destiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, when you look at some of the things that I watch on TikTok, even Nathan that I work with, all of these things are based on thought right here. What's here, right? If I think I'm going to fail, I will fail. But if I think I will be successful, I may have small bursts of failure. But if you keep pushing forward, I'll be successful. Same for you, same for anybody in there, right?
Yep.
And so I really was thinking about it today, and I was like, man, this is really, really powerful stuff. And I don't know if you could try to put it in a better explanation to everybody what I'm trying to say.
Well, this is weird because a long time ago I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yep.
And in the book, I remember him talking about how he was living, I believe, in L.A. or something, and they were poor. They were living out of their car, him and his wife. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's when he got his financial education. He realized what he had done. He went out, got his first piece of real estate, and became massively successful. I've been listening to his podcast the last few weeks, and now I can't find that story anywhere. Instead, he gets out of the Marine Corps. He puts his first piece of real estate on his credit card for $2,000 and buys his first house, his first asset, with no money down, all on debt. And I'm sitting there going, that's not the story I remember. I remember this guy was living in a car with his wife, and they had no money. And they took their last $2,000 and bought this asset. And now the story's all changed. I'm sitting there going, dude, no. Like, I know this story. I used to talk about this story all the time.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, this is a fucking Mandela effect.
Well, this timeline splits.
Well, hold on. No. Actually, no. This is what I'm starting to think. I have a theory. It's called convergence. Okay? And basically what it is that we're all on our own individual timeline. And occasionally when we interact, these timelines converge and diverge. Okay? Now think about this. If you're continuously creating your reality, and I'm continuously creating my reality, okay?
Yeah.
The universe itself has to basically course correct for all those changes and variations, right? Now, in understanding the simulation universe that's out there, the simulation universe theory, one of the main mechanisms to the simulation universe that they actually know happens, and this is one of the main reasons they believe we actually live in a simulation, is Jason, the universe course corrects. The universe has built into the quantum system a correction to the system, a course correction to the system. Now think about that operating in the pathway of somebody's life's unfoldment. Robert Kiyosaki's life has changed, his goals have changed, everything has changed since that time. Mine have too. And what if what's happening is the changing of our lives, okay, Jay? The converging and diverging of our lives from these different goals are various timelines, various time frames or time reference frames. And that in order for you to have certain goals of accomplishment, the universe finds it easier, because, right, the path of least resistance. Is it easier for the universe to basically create that for you on this timeline, or just shift you into the other timeline?
Shift you into the other timeline.
It's easier to just shift you into the other timeline, because maybe the change variation is 0.0001.
Yeah. No,
and then all of a sudden you start noticing it. Mandela effect.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Have you ever heard of the story about the 33-year-old tech executive from Utah? Her name is...
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so here she is. She's an inspiring businesswoman. She goes to Silicon Valley, and she's in this. Erin Valenti is her name. And if you guys don't know about this, research it because it's pretty wild. So Erin Valenti goes to Silicon Valley. She's in this kind of like an executive meeting in Silicon Valley. She leaves it. She's trying to find her rental car but can't find it. And she calls her dad and she starts telling her dad, we live in the Matrix. This doesn't make sense. And she's just kind of crazy talking.
Mm-hmm.
She basically disappears. And then 1 week later, they find her like a mile away from the office complex.
And so for everybody wondering, her name is Erin Valenti. And
Yes.
she founded something called Tinker Ventures.
Yep.
And she was working, I forgot what the project was. She was working on this one project. And I think she was actually found in a car or something, right? Her mother, Whitney Valenti, told East Bay Times, we talked to her for hours on and off on Monday night. Her thoughts were disconnected. She talked a mile a minute. She'd say, I'm coming home for Thanksgiving. Then in the next, she was saying she's in the Matrix, a simulated reality described in the science film.
Well, what if it really wasn't the film? What if it really was a Matrix? What if she was bouncing from reality to reality or timeline to timeline, like you just said?
But the timelines were computer generated. And basically, there are ways that the Matrix basically course corrects itself because it has multiple variations of the same simulation running over itself. And that the course corrections are basically to keep you in line and in tune with the simulation as it is, so you don't wake up and find out that it's an actual simulation. And so what it does is the course corrections basically vary you from timeline to timeline towards the goals and outcomes that you want to have, right?
Right.
When in actuality, you're just in a computer simulation that you're trying to get out of. And so wait, have you ever played Ready Player One?
I love it. Yeah, I like that movie.
Hold on, I'm trying to take it off. Nope, still here.
So if somebody goes, shrooms are popular in Silicon Valley. Yeah, but I don't think a CEO of a startup company that's looking for whatever there just goes there and says like, oh, I'm gonna eat some shrooms.
Well, here's the thing: is Tinker, she founded SLT Tech Startups, okay, a professional networking group. There was Tinker Ventures was working on something that was actually government related. I forgot what it was.
Whatever she found out, obviously freaked her out enough that only way she could describe it was Matrix. Right?
Yep. There was a
I know that's
project
kind of Prince talk, right?
Yeah, there was something that was going on with Tinker Ventures that had a government contract of some sorts, and that's where she learned it. There's a whole backstory behind this, and I can't obviously find where that is now, but there's more in there. But yeah, that is definitely. I don't know, man. Do we live in the Matrix?
If you look at the fifth part of the definition of a matrix, I got an organizational structure in which two or more lines of command, responsibility, or communication may run through the same individual. It's kind of interesting. So what if she was referring to the way the world is run?
No, she literally was telling her father that it was the Matrix, like the movie. We live in a computer simulation.
But in some ways, so to make this and simplify this, in a lot of ways that is the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the narrative, the media narrative is controlled.
Mm-hmm.
It's put there to influence you in a direction that the Matrix wants you to go, right? The politicians are controlled, and up in this top of this hand, you have these little puppet masters that are controlling everything.
Right.
Sorry, I got fringy.
No, I think this is the one I'm looking for. It's the heavy.com article. She was found in San Jose, business trip to Silicon Valley. She was CEO of Tinker Ventures. Tinker is a digital product development agency and venture studio. We invent, design, develop, scale ADA-based technology products built for iOS, Android. Okay. I know that Guy Plus Beard and all those guys know a lot more about this than I do. This is basically just repeating. Maybe she just had a psychotic break. Who knows, man? They're calling it a manic episode. It's all a game. It's all a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix.
See, I'm telling you.
So she said, Valenti stated that she suffered what appeared to be a manic episode despite having no history of mental illness. In one conversation, she said, it's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix, the newspaper reported.
No. You've got to check out Missing 411. Have you seen this show on Amazon?
Missing 411?
Yeah, this is more French stuff, but we'll get back to the news in a second. But you guys got to check out Missing 411 on Amazon Prime. So the one episode that I'm specifically talking about is called The Hunted. Okay?
Hunters?
No, it's Missing 411, The Hunted.
There's Missing 411 Hunters Volume 1. This is, never mind. Amazon Prime, right?
Yep.
Missing 411. I think it's based on a book series, right?
I think it might be, but more or less is that there's a guy, he was an investigator all his life, and he kind of looks at all of these instances of
Has he got like the cow skull? Yeah. It's called Missing 411, The Hunted.
The Hunted, correct. That's in an episode. That is one of the episodes, okay? So, it's fantastic. So, basically what you have is he has all of these cases of missing hunters. He talks about time, dates, and specific things, what they're near. And all of these things have all these similarities. Near bodies of water, they were alone, like all of these circumstances. So they go into one of these stories about this woman who is hunting in a tree, dude. And she's got her bow with her, and she's not far from the school. And she's far enough she can't see the school, but she's close enough that she can hear the band practicing in the football field, okay?
Yeah.
And she can hear all the birds chirping, everything is around her. And then she goes, everything just went silent. And she goes, here I am sitting in this tree, and they're doing a reenactment of this. And the best way to put it is predator shit. Across from her, sitting there looking at her, is this kind of object that is kind of moving. And the only way I can say is it looks like the predator when he's pretending to hide.
Dude, keep on going.
And it reaches out like this, and it grabs another tree, and it pulls itself in this kind of like, almost like gasoline, right? The gasoline vapors. You see it, and it goes like this over to the tree, and then it kind of just disappears. So during this time, she tries to take a photo of it, and the photo on this phone doesn't come out. And it was actually changed. The pixelation was changed to something that the phone couldn't actually do. So long story short, it kind of disappears. As soon as it's gone, the birds start chirping again. Everything starts to come back to life. So her son is in band. And her son comes home, and he's like, did you guys see the bright yellow light that came above the school? More or less, it was a UFO, and it shoots out over the school. Everybody saw it. And she puts two and two together. What she saw was an alien, and that was its spaceship.
That's crazy.
And
so
this is a good series, guys.
So I was in my backyard of my old house here in Colorado one day. Right?
Yeah.
And this is when I smoke cigarettes, and I'm out there, and I'm under my patio, and it's summer, beautiful day, right? And I see this object really high in the sky, kind of dropping, and it's at like bird height, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's over the house in front of mine. And Jay, it looked like it was shape-shifting like this, but it looked like a crystal. You know how like crystal, like light comes off the crystal, and you have all the different like gasoline type. Yeah,
Yeah.
It looked like that, but you couldn't make it out, and it was just moving because you couldn't see its form. And it was going through the sky like this, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I took my phone, and I'm trying to record. Couldn't get anything. Came up with nothing. And it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. I remember it to the day like it was yesterday. Because I remember, because it was like sharp spikes, and it was like crystals like coming off of it, but it was like
That's
distorted.
Exactly what it was.
It was like
it
distorted with gasoline.
Yeah, in this woman's case, it would have been like looking through a crystal with multiple angles on it.
There you go. It's like a kaleidoscope. It's like a kaleidoscope. It's like a kaleidoscope in 3 dimensions, distorting itself, like pixelated distortions with and you could see like a kind of a gas around it. And you know what I attribute it to?
What?
We only can perceive things in a 3-dimensional reality.
Yeah.
So if something in the 4th dimension entered our dimensional space, it would appear to us as a distortion. Because we wouldn't be able to see the context of its 4th dimensional reality. And so whatever that object is that I saw that day, that's what I believe it was. Was an object that exists outside of our dimension.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I brought this up about this was because, did you see they're getting ready to announce? Ratcliffe just came out and said that that the United States has evidence of unidentified flying objects breaking Mach speed without
Who said
making
this?
a sonic
Ratcliffe
boom.
is no longer the DNI.
I know. Ratcliffe just came out and said this shit's coming out, dude. You didn't hear this yet?
No.
Oh, yeah.
6 hours ago. Here we go. Upcoming UFO report will be difficult to explain, former national intelligence officials say. Top former national intelligence official hinted that an upcoming government report on UFOs will include information that cannot easily be explained. There are instances that we don't have a good explanations for some of the things that we've seen, and when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe told Fox News' Maria Bartiromo on Friday. Ratcliffe said some UFO sightings have been declassified in the past, but the report to be released by the Pentagon and other federal agencies will present more information to the American people. There have been sightings all over the world, Ratcliffe said, and when we talk about sightings and other things I will tell you, is it's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligent collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking these things up. Ratcliffe said elements that are hard to explain in these unreleased sightings include movements that are hard to replicate or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without creating a sonic boom. Whoa, hold on. We got the video right here, I think. Let's play this.
Actually is a program that's been in place for a few years in terms of a task force that has been there under the National Defense Authorization Act. But as you correctly point out, Maria, there's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence. I actually wanted to get this information out and declassified before I left office, but we weren't able to get it down into an unclassified format that we could talk about quickly enough. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, that movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. So in short, things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those, and I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. We always, when we see these things, Maria, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause disturbances, visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
Can you tell us where it was seen?
Actually, all over the world. There have been sightings all over the world. And when we talk about sightings, the other thing I will tell you is it's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. And so, again, some of this are just their unexplained phenomenon. And there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So I think it'll be healthy for as much of this information to get out there as possible so that the American people can see.
Wow. Well, I think that that tips directly into the narrative we're talking about. Does it not?
What did you say? You think Jay was right about?
Well, about Space Force.
Order. Fucking A, bro.
And so this falls directly into the narrative that we've been talking about, that you have to slowly, what if that's what all this is about? We've been saying it. This is what it's all about. But what if this is what the whole virus thing was about? The whole lockdown. What if there was, it's cockamamie to think, but what if there was some rogue alien element on this planet and you needed people to basically just get the hell out of the way so you could get them, take them down? Right? It's fucking plausible. And now with this is going to come out in June, by the way. And hopefully the Biden administration or Harris administration doesn't cancel it and stop it at the last minute. But Ratcliffe coming out, the former director of national intelligence coming out and basically just said, UFOs are fucking real.
Yeah,
we don't know what the hell this shit is. That's huge. And I think that, guys, I've been calling it. I've been saying it for a very, very long time, that there's something more going on here. And we're about to find out.
Yep. Yeah. Now.
Wow.
Now.
What's up?
I want to bring this up. I gotta. Actually, you know what? I think we could probably save this conversation for Fringe Night. Okay.
Well, we're having Nathan on this week, so.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
All right. So maybe it's a good combo for next week. But okay. I saw this show yesterday. I watched like 2 hours worth of TV, and I actually was like, I got to go do something because I'm not being productive. This was at night. So I watched this haunted show, and they were doing an exorcism. Okay. And the person that did the exorcism during the interview process said that the only way to eradicate a demon, right, is by using Christian prayer. And I fucking thought this was so interesting. And then I tried to think about the validity of it, right? So in this one circumstance, this girl who has a friend who practices witchcraft puts a spell on this guy. They end up breaking up. Long story short, he finds a new girl 4 years later. They get married really fast. They move in together, and then this demon starts to show up again. Okay? First in his dreams, then within his home. First it attacks him, then it attacks his new wife. So it's enough to scare the shit out of him, and they bring in somebody, and the psychic comes in. Psychic says, yeah, there's something here. She's kind of weird, but she, so long story short, they bring in people to do an exorcism. Everything is good for like 2 weeks or 2 months, and they're just about to have a baby, and the psychic just shows up at their house and says, I had a premonition that the thing was back. And she goes through the house to try to do another ritual, but she uses pagan prayer and Christianity in the mix. And she, at the end, this is what the people that did another exorcism finally say, is that she screwed it up and brought it back because of the paganism. And the only way to eradicate demons is through Christian prayer. Now think about it, though. It's really interesting. I think we got to talk about it probably.
Well, I think that it all depends on where the belief lies. Okay?
True.
Is that, remember, we talk about this in the symbol. A symbol is a representation of energy in a quantum state. So it has a potential to be whatever you want to hold it to be. And so for the last 2,000 years, Christian doctrine has been the methodology utilized to cast that out. And so it has basically the platform built for doing exactly that. Whereas the pagan platform, if you want to look at it like that, has been suppressed and depressed. So there probably is other methodologies that do that. Islam probably has it. Judaism probably has it. Other foundational institutions probably have it. I know that in certain mystery schools that it's out there. Kabbalah, it's actually out there. A jinn is exactly what a jinn is. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I know that I think that's probably a function of the belief. The function of the attachment of belief is probably where that comes about from. In the sense of what his belief was, of how it was latching onto him or the baby or whatever. But, what is that? What? Think about this. What if we really do live?
Right. So there really isn't. Let's just say there's demons, right? If there's angels, there's demons.
Well, hold on.
Right?
Let's say that we just live in a computer simulation. And the simulation is a thought experiment, of which it manifests your thoughts into reality when it sits to a certain threshold variance. And that over time, legends get created, and those legends become... Have you ever seen American Gods on HBO? So American Gods is basically, it's like, there's Odin, there's Thor, there's Jesus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they're created by the people who bring them into existence by believing in them. So it's the belief in them that creates them as a thought form, and that's what gives them power. And so that, if this was really a simulation, and like what that Aaron Valente said, is this is a thought experiment. It is the matrix. What you think about and focus on comes into reality. So what if the ex-girlfriend put a pagan spell on him? He knew that she was into paganism or some pagan religion, right? And believed she put a spell on him. Those two match both positives. Boom, there it is. The spell happens.
Yeah, see, he didn't realize it until like 5 years later when the psychic started to ask questions. So like, she's like, did she take anything that was like a real personal possession? He's like, actually, she did. She took my favorite baseball shirt. Like, he pieces it together 4 years later, 5 years later.
But subconsciously, he knew it.
Subconsciously,
if he knew she had the capability, then it was once a thought. And I promise you that most likely what it is we could be think about the whole UFO thing. Think about the whole UFO thing. I mean, you come into a critical mass in the thinking of humanity where it just has to come out. It's no more denying it. Technology is just so damn good, you can't hide it anymore. So they have to come out with the truth. Right?
Yeah, I mean...
But what if all that is creations of our own mind? Think about CE5 events. What do? They go and meditate and think about it for 30 to 45 minutes, and all of a sudden things appear.
But think about... So somebody put this on here, and I have to bring it up. The Bible says, as we think, so we are. Think about that.
No, not only the Bible says that. Every spiritual foundation, it's the one thing. It's the one thing.
Every spiritual foundation says
it's the one thing that every spiritual foundation since the beginning of existence has agreed upon is you become what you think about. You become what you hold in your mind. What you think about, you become. Or what you think about manifests in your reality. And what did Aaron Valente say? It's a thought experiment. We live in the matrix. I've always said this, and people will know what I'm talking about, is I said, what if we're the civilization whose planet was destroyed and we were sent out into space to find a new home? We all went into a cryogenic state and uploaded our consciousness into an AI system. And basically what we've been doing for 2,000, 3,000 years is reincarnating into different lives, all 10,000 of us, right? Reincarnating into all these different lives in all different scenarios, from Atlantis to Lemuria, from Rome to Greece to Egypt to America to whatever it might be, right? Mm-hmm. And that we keep manifesting. And here's the thing, is there's only 10,000 of us, but the population is growing because that is consistent to keep the simulation stable. So this means that most of the people that you interact with in your life aren't real people. But then you come across some people, those few different people, and they're more real than ever. You have this connection and bond with them. And like, that's another person that's sitting on that ship with you, that's in that simulation, and you found each other. And see, the system is coming to a critical mass because guess what? We've been in it for so long that we don't want to be in it anymore. It's time to wake up. The timer's about to go off. Like I said, there's there's something's about to happen. They're preparing for something. The timer's about to go off. We're all about to wake up.
We're all about to wake up and pull tubes out of ourselves.
Like, oh my God, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be fucked up, wouldn't it?
It'd be crazy.
It'd be
fun.
really wild. It'd be wild to wake up and I'm pulling all these tubes out and then I actually am in a spaceship. For real.
and it's like nothing ever changed. It's like you just had a dream. It's all like you just had a dream.
So somebody goes, so which one of you does not exist? Josh or Jason?
Well, what if all of us interacting here were actually people on that ship? And the reason that we believe all these fringe things
is because we're all on the same
because we're all on the same ship. And what if the reason why Joe Biden looks like he's wearing a mask, he looks like a robot, these people look like evil and Satan is because they're simulations?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. It's interesting, man. It's an interesting thought. It's an interesting theory. But more and more every day, I begin to believe that whatever we exist in is more and more like a simulation. And if that's the case, then you can hack it.
Well, yeah. Life Hacks by Josh and Jay.
No, you can really hack it. So go back to the Aurora shooting. Did you ever hear this kid's story? Now, his father's like an incredibly smart engineer. I think he was a smart engineer at Google.
The kid that goes into the movie theater?
Yeah. So this kid, he was a child prodigy in mathematics and physics, Jay.
Huh.
He had a theory on time. And he believed that we could... have you ever seen the show OA on Netflix?
Oh, yeah. Good show, yep.
Yep. So he believed in that, and the way that you prompted the transition to the other dimension was through major traumatic events. And that through mass trauma, by basically, remember the movie, did you watch the movie The 13th Floor yet?
Oh, yeah, man.
By going out and going someplace that you never thought you would go and just keep on going no matter what the signs say. Yeah. He said that when his theory is if you go out there and you do that, you follow reality to the limit, to the boundary, and you have that much trauma that it'll cause you to basically skip that timeline to a new timeline. That was his theory. And they had him talking to a psychiatrist and everything before all this happened.
I mean, in his theory, he did skip to a new timeline.
And you know what he said afterwards, and this came out?
What?
I was right.
Is he right? He's in prison.
Doesn't mean that you remove the consequences of your action. Who knows where he came from? He's only in our reality because we understand him in our reality. But what if he came from a different timeline? What if this whole world's a Mandela effect for him?
What if it's like a dream?
More real than you could ever imagine. What's that?
You ever feel that way sometimes when you dream? There's times where I dream and I do not feel like it. Like what is happening in this dream is my current reality or my current situation. It's almost like a second life.
Mm-hmm. It's more real than real.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes I don't want to wake up because I want to know what happens. Right?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You're in a dream. Really, it's more real than real, and you want to know what happens next.
Yeah, I've had dreams like that.
Oh, me too.
And so there was a long time that I didn't dream. I bet you I didn't dream for 5 good years. And working with Nathan has really changed that. And I don't know. I don't know if you guys think I'm nuts wearing these, but this has definitely changed my life. You know? And, well, there's a lot of things that have changed my life. But these have really helped me sleep much better. and I dream now. And I can tell you, Sunday I woke up. The only reason I woke up was because I had to go to the bathroom, and I did not want to wake up because of the dream. I was like, man, this is such a good dream, you know? Was having such a good time and everything else. I'll drink for you, Jason. You go for it, Sermons. But yeah, that's.
But then think about, like someone just mentioned, ayahuasca takes you to a separate reality, but it's full of snakes. What if drugs, right, were a way to hack that program?
That's.
Right?
Yeah.
We're dealing with computer code. And when you take a program and you enter it into your system, it produces a distortion in the primary system, which distorts the view and the perspective of the system.
What if that's what the vaccine does?
What if that's what the vaccine does, is redistorts everything back to normalcy? What if the vaccine is the firmware upgrade to the next simulation?
Fuck me, that's some heavy shit right there, dude. Because I swore a lot tonight. Holy God.
What if it was the firmware upgrade to the next simulation, and the next simulation's coming, and you can't stop it, and if you don't have the firmware upgrade, does not compute. Remember when the Aborigines said, remember the Uluru prophecy? When we talked about this, and Ben was talking about the Uluru prophecy. He talked about the Aborigines and how they said that when they initiate this technology, that the frequency of the Earth is going to increase to over 100 hertz, a new octave. Okay, the Schumann resonance is going to increase to 100 hertz. And he said, some people on this planet are not going to be able to handle that, and the Aborigines say they're going to die of heart attacks.
4 to 6% won't come back.
4 to 6% won't come back. What if it was a firmware upgrade? What if some of us were already existing on that plane?
Yeah, like all of us. That's why we say we don't need that shit.
Remember what I was saying about the whole radio station? Is that what if everything is starting to become clearer for us because we've already existed on this firmware upgrade? Other people are getting the vaccine and getting caught up, right? Liberals are now just starting to wake up. Isn't that interesting that they're all starting to wake up right after the vaccine?
Yep.
I think there's something more going on here. I don't mean to be speculative and conspiratorial, but this is fucking unusual.
Man.
Maybe we do live in flat Earth.
No. How many kids still say it's a round circle, man?
Yeah.
Or a big floating rock.
Well, maybe it's neither. Maybe it's a freaking simulation.
Yeah.
And Jay, maybe it is a simulation. And that we can't leave the planet because the simulation doesn't go past the planet.
Maybe. I mean, think about it. When you play SimCity, right? If you played SimCity Caveman, right? You would start as a caveman. You would literally go through the time period of evolution to create until you get to this modern world.
Yeah. So someone just said, I have a hard time believing that the elites want to help us. I agree with you. But what if the elites were just the sysadmins of the system? What if they were whatever is controlling the simulation, right? They're the Agent Smiths from the Matrix. That their job is simply to keep the simulation in balance. And right now, the simulation is coming to a point of instability, right? Because everybody's figuring it out, and they have to move to a new simulation. But this is why the Mr. Smiths are acting all crazy and weird and going so radical.
Maybe where we go one means more than we know.
Maybe you never know who you're talking to was exactly that.
Good show tonight.
Yeah, this was fun. Hey guys, don't forget to check us out, www.socialredpill.com. Free access. Go ahead and choose the free plan there. You can go if you are able to support us. There are subscription packages available, as well as we have some other cool stuff. There's a free course in there in personal development. There is a crypto mastermind group that we do have, which people are making massive money with, even with the market being down today. Buy the dip. Don't forget to buy the dip. Because even if it is a simulation, you still got to live and survive. And we haven't figured out how to hack the system completely and fully. We will be back tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll see you guys then. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Hey, Mom. Love you. See you guys later.
Love you, Mom. Be well. Take care. Please give us a call. We'll have a good conversation. Take care, everybody. Bye.